This is iFIBER 1 News. Here are today's top stories.
About 200 gathered at the state capitol on Monday to protest the Trump administration's national emergency declaration to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border.
A common parasite may be doing more damage to northwest honeybees than in past years.
It was another long and wild day of wrestling that took hours and hours to complete, but at the end, the best stood tall.
The atmosphere was electrifying inside the Wenatchee High School gymnasium on Saturday night for the Big Nine championship game between the home Panthers and the visiting Davis Pirates of Yakima.
From the iFIBER 1 newsroom, this is iFIBER 1 News, and it starts now.
About 200 gathered at the state capitol on Monday to protest the Trump administration's national emergency declaration to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Democratic U.S. Representative Denny Heck and Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson assured sign-carrying protesters that President Trump would not see money for the wall without a fight.
Not 1 inch of that wall will be built under his declaration of emergency act.
Heck says Trump faces legal challenges, including one from Ferguson's office.
He's going to get sued by great attorneys general like Bob Ferguson, by the ACLU, by a lot of other groups. It's going to get stayed in court. The resolution's going to pass the House. The resolution's going to pass the Senate. I don't know that it'll be veto-proof, but it's going to pass. And then we'll have an opportunity, when it is stayed, to work our magic in the National Defense Authorization Act and the Appropriations Bill.
Ferguson confirmed that his office will file a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration.
First, there's no question in our mind that what he's doing is unlawful. It's an end around Congress, right? Congress controls the purse. My 10-year-old twins know that, right? They teach this in school.
His office has already sued the administration 33 times, with 17 rulings in the Attorney General's favor. Ferguson vowed that Washington would be one of the states to challenge Trump's emergency declaration in court.
Any of those funds that he raids impact the state of Washington. If he impacts the people of the state of Washington, if he impacts the projects here in the state of Washington, we have 4 words for him. See you in court.
While the rally was peaceful for the most part, 2 men with differing opinions got into a brief physical confrontation. Richard Hall said he was critical of Heck and Congress for not coming up with an immigration policy. One of the men, Richard Hall, said he was critical of Heck and Congress for not coming up with an immigration solution.
This isn't really just at the border, it's after these immigrants, undocumented, slip through past these communities along the border, and then they have no papers, no documents, and they disappear somewhere in the United States.
At the state capitol in Olympia, I'm Jeff Chu for iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by...
Change doesn't have to be complicated. With a low-profile microwave hood combination that's ready to install right out of the box. It fits in the same space as your under-cabinet hood, so you can get your microwave off the countertop and make space for the routines worth keeping. The low-profile microwave hood combination. From the #1 selling appliance brand in the USA.
Whirlpool Appliances, now available at more furniture in Ephrata.
A common parasite may be doing more damage to northwest honeybees than in past years, and endangering the crops that depend on pollination. Bee colonies are delicate at the best of times, but last year's warm weather helped nurture one of their worst parasites, the varroa mite, which feeds on bees at almost all stages of life. Beekeepers nationwide are worried, especially after losing about 40% of their hives between 2017 and 2018. Beekeepers in Washington manage about 53,000 colonies. The state has averaged about 32% colony failure in the last 8 years, including a 24% failure rate last winter. Horticulturists began warning about increased varroa danger last year. Historically, hives that are treated for varroa do about 5% better than those left untreated. But it's a tenacious pest, and this year's bee mortality won't be known until about April. Meanwhile, orchardists depend on honeybees as a primary pollinator for cherries and other tree fruit. Jefferson Robbins, iFIBER 1 News.
This segment is brought to you by
Your taste buds bored? Well, then bring them to Jay's Teriyaki. Not only does Jay's have a variety of teriyaki dishes, they also offer mouth-watering salads and sides. Call Jay's 509-764-5155. Jay's Teriyaki, located at 123 East Broadway in Moses Lake, because it's all in the sauce.
It was another long and wild day of wrestling that took hours and hours to complete, but at the end, the best stood tall. Ephrata's Maya Spencer finished her senior year as a state champion, pinning every single opponent she faced this tournament. Other notable finishes for Ephrata wrestlers include Mac Laird, who finished as a state runner-up, Sammy Flores, who took third, and Clay Johns, who placed in fourth. Othello had 2 state champions and a runner-up. Isaiah Perez won his second state title back-to-back. Perez absolutely dominated, pinning all of his opponents no later than the second period. Bernabe Garza Jr. joined Perez as the state champion, while female wrestler Emily Mendez finished as a state runner-up. Arturo Solario finished in third and Roberto Ramirez placed in fourth. Moses Lake did some damage as well. 4 wrestlers placed, the highest of which was female wrestler Melanie Flores, who finished in third. Hunter White placed in fourth, while Jonathan Tanguma and Riley Burgess took fifth. Quincy saw a trio of wrestlers place in state. Salvador Chavarin came in 6th place, while Ruben Vargas and Damian Calillas placed in 7th. Royal had a few wrestlers make deep runs in the tournament. Dominic Martinez finished as state runner-up. Daniel Bonilla got knocked out early but tore his way through the consolation bracket to finish third. Lorenzo Myrick finished fourth and Ryder Eilers took fifth. Warden saw Rodrigo Ozuna place in fourth and Holden Howarth finished in sixth. Female wrestler Aliyah Escamilla finished in fifth. There were several teams with top 10 finishes in their class, including Moses Lake, Othello, Ephrata, Royal, and Warden. I'm Adam Chikoski for iFIBER 1 Sports.
The atmosphere was electrifying inside the Wenatchee High School Gymnasium on Saturday night for the Big 9 championship game between the home Panthers and the visiting Davis Pirates of Yakima. After the opening tip-off, it was the Panthers who came out as the stronger squad, led by the shooting of sophomore guard Garrett Long, who aided in giving Wenatchee a lead of 14-9 after 1 quarter of play. The Pirates' clipper ship Fast Break surged up and down the hardwoods all the while in an effort to keep pace, and did so in quarter number 2 as well, but Davis couldn't catch up to the Panthers, who increased their advantage to 9 points by halftime. In the initial stages of the second half, the Pirates made it clear, however, that they were not about to be capsized so easily, and stormed out of the break on a 9-2 run that thinned Wenatchee's lead to only 2 points. Junior guard Nathan Blauman swiftly and quite literally single-handedly helped in sandbagging Davis's early third-quarter torrent with a pair of lane drive baskets less than 30 seconds apart to keep the Panthers in front. At the end of 24 minutes, Wenatchee still led by 5 and were in a favorable position to win the game and season supremacy in the Big 9 to go along with it. The lane penetrations of Long and Blauman helped in bailing the rising waters of the Pirates' fourth-quarter surge off the hardwoods of Wenatchee's arc, and Long's namesake shooting distance from behind the arc emblazoned on the court provided the bulk of the Panthers' thrusts and parries. The Pirates' retaliatory jabs came courtesy of junior guard Marcus Cook's long-distance cannonballs and sophomore forward Jose Reyes' salty work around the key. With just 35 seconds remaining in regulation and Davis ahead by 1, Blauman and sophomore guard Evan Smith's tag team pilfering gave the rock back to Wenatchee, after which Blauman wasted little time in attacking the baseline in search of the go-ahead bucket. Blauman's jackrabbit reflexes drew a foul that sent him to the line for a pair of critical free throws. Blauman made both to put the Panthers back on top 52-51, and on the subsequent Davis possession, it appeared as if Wenatchee was about to prevail when Smith blocked a shot from only 2 feet away. But the Panthers couldn't find the rebound, and Blauman was whistled for a foul which sent sophomore guard Xavier Guerrero to the charity stripe for a pair of shots with only 5.4 seconds left on the game clock. After Guerrero missed his first chuck, the best he and Davis could hope for was a tie, and to continue the jousting match in overtime.
I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. Davis is playing extremely well at the end of the year, and you know, we built enough of a cushion, and they kept fighting back, and then they built that 3 or 4 point lead there late in the fourth, and we just battled through and made a few plays down the stretch, and were able to come out on top. I think we just got to keep believing in ourselves and keep believing that we can go out and win any game, and we got to keep playing hard defensively and hopefully finish a few more shots inside early on. But we just got to keep playing hard, keep believing in ourselves.
Garrett Long led the way in scoring for Wenatchee with 19, and Blauman finished with 16 right behind him. Wenatchee now advances to regionals next weekend against an opponent which will be determined on Sunday by the WIAA seeding committee. Reporting for iFIBER 1 Sports, I'm Chris Hansen.
This is iFIBER 1 News. For more information on these stories and other news, visit us online at iFiber1.com or check us out on Facebook.